Okay, I really didn't think I was going to make another video about this case, but I went through Lullaby again last night. Could not sleep at all, and I think there's a lot more than meets the eye with this case, and I think Brian had been planning this and is a lot more calculated than we might all expect. Okay, so in the book, the group that is traveling on this road trip, they are trying to destroy all copies of the book containing the death note. It is not just a note, though. It is actually called the Culling Song, which is, according to this author, an ancient song that gently, peacefully puts people to death. Now, I thought the choice of wording culling was interesting. He doesn't call it a death song, he doesn't call it a sleep song, he calls it a culling song. And personally, I've never heard that word before, so keep that in mind. In ancient cultures, they sang it to children during droughts, blah blah blah, warriors crippled with disease, and anyone that you hope will die soon to end their pain. It's a lullaby. So this is early in the book. This is where the entire title comes from, and that's basically where the whole plot line forms. Now, I also noticed some other mentions of this song in the book. It is described as an old song about animals going to sleep. And this is repeated a second time, so it's hard to forget. It's an old song about animals going to sleep. This is on a separate page. Now, like I said, the word culling stuck out to me. Weird word choice. So I look up culling on Google, and this comes up. Badger culling in the UK. Basically, badgers have been carrying a disease called bovine tuberculosis, and they are overpopulating the UK. So they have had to be put down in the thousands for years. Again, reduction of a wild animal population by selective slaughter. The most recent case of this, again, the badger culling in the UK. So I just thought it was very interesting how specifically badgers are the first example that pops up. When you go into Spotify and look up Badger, the first song that comes up is by Matt Berry, who happens to also be a UK artist. This was released when the badger culling started, and it's called The Badger's Wake. The entire song is about badgers being put to death. Here are the lyrics. You can read those if you want. Now, the lyrics alone say a lot, but what really was concerning to me is the end of the song. I'm gonna play a clip of it in the next video. I'm running out of time. Alright, back to this song. If you read the lyrics, obviously it speaks for itself, but listen to the end of the song. Does that not sound exactly like a lullaby? Like the specific instruments being used, I can't explain it. Someone who studies music probably knows better than me. That sounds spot on like a lullaby. Okay, that was just the first lullaby that I found on Spotify, but does anyone get what I'm saying? Very reminiscent of a lullaby to me. This was the last song added to Brian Laundrie's playlist after Gabby went missing. As someone pointed out on Reddit, this song was added to the playlist September 1st. This was after him and Gabby had been separated and she was declared missing. Now we know that she's dead. I think without a doubt, he did it. The choice of wording here, infestation, that is specific. He specifically talks about the DNA of humans and how horrible we are as a species, essentially. I feel like this has to be in relation to the idea of culling. The aim of culling is to eradicate a host species. Very interesting, I don't know. Is this connected? Am I just going down a rabbit hole of insanity? Now again here, I would like to point out this, in parentheses, the scientific name of tree. Nobody does that. Nobody takes tree and gets Juniperus osteosperma. Unless there is another meaning behind that, or unless you have been inspired by something else, because that is just, You're 23 and this is your Instagram caption. I don't think it's a coincidence that we see this multiple times used throughout Lullaby. The scientific what is this called? Not notation. The scientific title for things. Aleagnus augustifolia. Again, these are all oysters saying these things. Brassica torniforti. Here we go again. Boustrophodon. I also thought there was something kind of funny about their name, and personally, I just couldn't see Gabby picking this name out. I think this has Brian written all over it, so I'm gonna explain what my theory is about the name in the next video. Obviously, my first time reading the book, I read through it in one night. I skipped over a lot of stuff, and the second time around, I noticed this is repeated multiple times. Constructive destruction. In this particular instance, and in many of the other instances, it is repeated right after someone dies. Honestly, I don't know how I missed this the first time around, because it is repeated 6 times in the novel, and when you mention constructive destruction following the death of a character, that to me symbolizes a metaphor for saying that it's okay to kill, and that as long as the destruction brings about something constructive, then it's for the better good, you know? This is also mentioned twice, the famous wedding vow line, "Till death do us part." Here in chapter 36 at the end, it is again mentioned after a character dies, and it is being used in an ironic way, saying "till death do us part," because now you're dead and we are forever stuck together. This quote is one of the more well-known quotes from the book. "There are worse things you can do to the people you love than kill them," used 3 times. So back to this idea of nomadic static and the whole name. I think it might have been inspired by constructive destruction, whether or not it was a, deliberate decision or subconscious, because Brian was such a huge fan of this book, I couldn't help but notice the constructive destruction wordplay and the meaning behind it. This is totally a reach, but nomadic means to be on the go, moving, changing places. Static is the complete opposite. It just means staying in the same place and staying still. Was this a metaphor for Brian and Gabby? Brian on the go, on the run. Gabby left behind, literally staying still for eternity. I really feel like this was his way of ensuring that they would be stuck together forever in some crazy way in his mind. I think that he may have thought that it was okay to kill people because we were an infestation that was, this parasitic virus spreading bad ideas, and I think he was losing it. He made a bad decision, and now he's on the run, being a coward. So let's find this dude and get her the justice she deserves. Please.